The Zovari flagship Axiom Eternal drifted through the void, its crystalline hull reflecting starlight in perfect geometric patterns. Admiral Seryn Talovar stood on the bridge, her silver uniform bearing the mathematical symbols of her rank. The Empire's doctrine was simple. Logic governed all. Equations predicted everything, and chaos was merely order waiting to be decoded. For 3,000 years, this philosophy had conquered 97% of the known galaxy. The censor officer's voice cut through the bridge's quiet efficiency. "Admiral, we have... an anomaly." His tone carried something forbidden in Zovari culture and certainty. Talovar's pale eyes narrowed. In the Empire's language, anomaly meant calculation error, not impossibility. "Define anomaly, Lieutenant Vex." Her voice carried the cold precision that had earned her command of the Empire's most advanced vessel. The Axiom Eternal was more than a ship. It was a floating monument to mathematical perfection, every system calibrated to 11 decimal places. Lieutenant Vex's fingers trembled over his console. "The readings are contradictory, Admiral. The object registers as both massive and weightless, solid and incorporeal. Our quantum sensors detect a dreadnought-class vessel, but our gravitational arrays suggest something no larger than a weather balloon." Talovar's jaw tightened. The Empire's sensors were infallible. They had to be. They were built on the fundamental constants of physics, the unchanging laws that governed reality itself. "On a full diagnostic. Your equipment is malfunctioning." "I've run 6 diagnostics, Admiral. All systems are functioning within normal parameters." Vex's voice cracked slightly. "The object is... it's approaching us." The main view screen flickered to life, displaying the impossible. Ship hung in space before them, its hull shifting between states of matter, like liquid mercury frozen in time. Geometric patterns flowed across its surface, but they were wrong angles that shouldn't exist, curves that bent space itself. "Distance." Talovar's voice remained steady, but her hands clenched behind her back. "Approximately 2,000 kilometers, Admiral, but also... also right beside us." The readings are simultaneous. The ship's name materialized on their screens, in flowing script that seemed to dance between languages. The Merry Inversion. Below it, a message appeared in perfect Zovari. "Greetings, travelers of certainty. Might we speak?" Talovar's mind raced through possibilities. Enemy deception? Technological warfare? Her training had prepared her for countless scenarios, but none of them included ships that existed in multiple states simultaneously. Open a channel. The view screen shimmered, and a figure appeared humanoid, but unlike any species in the Empire's databases. The being had dark skin and bright eyes that seemed to hold starlight, with hair that defied local gravity. She wore clothing that shifted between military uniform and flowing robes, as if it couldn't decide what it wanted to be. "I am Captain Camille Rao of the human vessel Merry Inversion," the figure said, her voice carrying warmth that felt alien after decades of Zovari efficiency. "You seem troubled by our presence. You're not in our databases," Talovar replied, falling back on protocol. "State your origin and purpose." The word human meant nothing to her, another impossibility in a day full of them. Camille smiled, and the expression was somehow both sad and infinitely patient. "We come from a small world called Earth, though we've been traveling for some time now. As for our purpose..." She gestured, and the space around her seemed to bend, showing glimpses of impossible geometries. "We explore the spaces between certainties." Behind Talovar, her crew exchanged glances. In the Empire, such poetic language was considered a sign of mental deficiency. Precision was everything. Ambiguity was weakness. "Your vessel defies our understanding of physics," Talovar said. "How is this possible?" "Physics," Camille mused, "is not a cage, Admiral. It's a symphony. Your people seem to have learned only one note and decided it was the entire song." She leaned forward, her eyes bright with curiosity. "Tell me, have you ever wondered what lies beyond the edges of your equations?" Talovar's breath caught. The question was heretical. The Empire's mathematics were complete, perfect, all-encompassing. Our equations describe all of reality. "Do they?" Camille's ship flickered, existing in 17 different positions simultaneously. "Then how do you explain us?" The question hung in the air like a virus, infecting every system of thought Talovar had ever known. She had spent her life in service to absolute truth, unshakable foundations, the comfort of certainty. But here was proof that certainty itself was an illusion. "Your technology," Talovar said finally, her voice barely a whisper. "How does it function?" Camille's expression grew serious. "We learned to embrace uncertainty itself. Your people try to eliminate chaos, to reduce everything to predictable patterns. But chaos isn't the enemy of order, it's partner in the dance of existence." On the bridge, instruments began fluctuating wildly. The Axiom Eternal's perfectly calibrated systems couldn't process the human ship's mere presence. Warning lights flashed as certainty itself began to break down. "Our quantum sails," Camille continued, "catch the wind of probability itself. We navigate not by fixed coordinates, but by the shifting currents of possibility. Our engines don't fight entropy, they dance with it." Talovar felt something she had never experienced before. The ground beneath her certainty was shifting. That's impossible. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Mass follows predictable laws. Space-time has fixed properties. "Yes," Camille agreed. "And no, and maybe, and sometimes." "Your statements are true within their context, Admiral, but contexts are not cages, they're doorways." The human ship pulsed, and for a moment, Talovar saw through its hull to the crew within. They moved like dancers, their actions flowing in patterns that suggested choreography rather than military precision. Their very posture spoke of comfort with uncertainty. "Show me," Talovar said, the words escaping before she could stop them. Around her, the bridge fell silent. A Zovari admiral did not ask to be shown, she commanded from absolute knowledge. Camille's smile was gentle. "Look at your sensors again, Admiral. But this time, don't try to force the readings into categories. Let them exist as they are." Talovar turned to the displays, and for the first time in her career, she didn't demand immediate classification. The readings were chaotic, contradictory, impossible, and somehow, in their impossibility, they were beautiful. "Your ship exists in quantum superposition," she breathed. "Not as a malfunction, but as a feature." "Now you're beginning to understand," Camille said. "We don't collapse the wave function, we surf it. We don't solve the three-body problem, we dance with it. We don't eliminate uncertainty, we make it our ally." The implications crashed over Talovar like a wave. If the humans were right, then everything the Empire had built was not wrong, but incomplete. Their mathematical perfection was a single note in a symphony they had never heard. "But control," Talovar said desperately. "Order. Predictability. How can a civilization function without these?" "Who says we lack them?" Camille's ship demonstrated, simultaneously maintaining perfect formation while existing in multiple states. "We have order, but it's living order, breathing order. We have control, but it's the control of a jazz musician, improvising within structure." Lavar's worldview cracked like ice in spring. "Your people... what are you?" "We're what happens when a species learns to ask what if, instead of it must be," Camille replied. "We're what emerges when you realize that the universe is not a machine to be controlled, but a partner to be danced with." The human ship began to withdraw, its form shifting through probability states like a dream becoming memory. "We'll be traveling through your space for a while," Camille said. "We don't seek to conquer or control, we're simply exploring the gardens of possibility." "Wait," Talovar called out, her voice breaking protocol. "How do I... How do we? How do you begin?" Camille's smile was radiant. "By accepting that you don't know everything. By asking questions instead of demanding answers. By letting go of the need to control every variable." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Talovar stared at the space where the human ship had been, her mind reeling. Everything she had believed, everything the Empire was built upon, suddenly seemed like a beautiful but limited subset of something much larger. "Admiral Lieutenant Vex said quietly, 'What are your orders?'" Talovar closed her eyes, feeling the weight of decision. She could declare the encounter classified, file a report about sensor malfunctions, and maintain the Empire's comfortable certainty. Or she could step into the unknown. "Begin a new research protocol," she said finally. "I want our best theorists to examine the possibility that our mathematical models are... incomplete." The bridge erupted in shocked murmurs. Such a statement bordered on treason against the Empire's foundational beliefs. But Talovar pressed on, her voice growing stronger with each word. "Furthermore, I want probability studies initiated, quantum mechanics research, chaos theory analysis. She turned to face her crew, and they saw something new in her eyes, not the cold certainty of logic, but the warm fire of curiosity. It's time the Empire learned to dance. In the depths of space, the Merry Inversion continued its impossible journey, carrying with it the knowledge that even the most rigid certainties could learn to bend. And behind it, on the bridge of the Axiom Eternal, Admiral Seryn Talovar took her first steps into the infinite gardens of possibility. The Empire's logic had not collapsed it. It simply learned that it was part of something far more beautiful and complex than it had ever imagined. And in that learning, it found not destruction, but the beginning of a new kind of order, one that could laugh at paradox while embracing the eternal dance of certainty and chaos. The universe, it seemed, was far more interesting than anyone had calculated.